Hello, this is Emmalou Penrod, and I'm talking about relationships today. And I know we have had several presentations on relationships, and understand that this is at the core of business and personal life, family life. If you think about it, relationships drive business and family life and personal life. We rely on them heavily. So watch all of them, dive deep. They'll come from different perspectives, different viewpoints. So be familiar with all of them. And okay. And I'm going to go ahead and start talking about 6 keys to a successful relationship. And these keys apply to any relationship, whether it's in business or in your personal life. So, and as we go through them, consider each one and apply it to the relationships in your life. The first key is, in any relationship, there are only 2 choices. The relationship is either moving forward or backward. Relationships are not stagnant. So consider that very carefully. And we're talking about relationships you want to move forward. You want to connect with this potential client or make a new friend. You want to strengthen your relationship with your teenager. In any of these situations where you want to move the situation forward, this will need to be a goal that you keep at the forefront in all of your interactions with this individual. You are remembering that it's a relationship you want to move forward. So we are focusing on those relationships you want to move forward, and exactly how you can do that. The second key is communication. And I'm sure you can appreciate how important this is. I like to think of the analogy of throwing a ball, playing catch. You don't just throw the ball and leave. You want to make sure the ball is caught. You can't just make your statement and then assume communication has taken place. The biggest component to communication is listening. And Stephen R. Covey, in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talked about listening to understand. We're not just listening so we can decide what we're going to say next. We're listening to completely understand the other person, where they're coming from, what their concerns are. Remembering that the purpose of business is to solve problems. And in any relationship, especially in a family, we want to solve problems. So we're listening carefully to understand. That's the biggest part of communication. And then we want to make sure that the message we sent was caught. Did they hear what you said? Did they understand what you said? My husband and I fall into this trap quite frequently, and it's gotten to the point where we just have to laugh about it. I was telling him that we were planning out the day, and I was explaining that the grandchildren would be coming over earlier in the day because I had an appointment at 3:00 and I needed to be ready to be on the camera, focused and ready to go by 3:00. He heard grandchildren and 3 o'clock. And his conclusion was, so the grandchildren are coming at 3 o'clock? And we had to go back through. The ball was dropped. I needed to throw it again and add in some clarifications. And I do the same thing. Sometimes when you're communicating with someone you talk to all the time, the tendency or temptation can be to only half listen, maybe only pick up part of the conversation. And then you just patiently toss the ball again, keep checking to make sure the message was received. There are several ways of doing this. In a personal relationship, it can be done very informally, just kind of repeating. So I heard you say that, or repeating back so we can make sure that the full message was received. In a business, you may actually want to have some things in writing. You may want to have a more formal way of checking that everyone's on the same page, and communication, complete communication has taken place. Now, in addition to this, you also need to consider personalities. I want you to imagine sitting down in a conference room. You're about to have a business meeting. There are 4 other people in this room. The first one is very analytical. He likes to hear all of the facts. I'm going to try to avoid gender specific pronouns because this applies to both men and women. So this person likes to hear all of the facts. He wants to hear all this. They want to hear all of the numbers. They want to have time to think and ponder very carefully before they make a decision. The person sitting next to them they speak in bullet points. They want the meeting to start on time, end on time. They want an agenda. They want to know that agenda is being followed. They want to get down to the bottom line. What's really most important for them? And the next person is very nurturing, caring, compassionate. They just want to make sure that everyone is okay, that everyone's happy with whatever decisions are made. Is everyone comfortable? Is everyone getting the support that they need? And the last person just wants to have fun. They love excitement, they're high energy. You get them tapped in and they're a mighty force, but their attention span is short. And if you don't keep their attention, they will mentally check out.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
So, there are several different theories on personality, several different programs, but they all are based on those basic 4 types. And of course, personality is much more complex than just one type. Most people have a combination. The very nurturing, caring person probably also enjoys parties. The very, let's list everything in bullet points, probably also wants to know the numbers, and any combination of the above. But realize that these different personalities will take in information in different ways. And if whoever is in charge of the meeting, if they stick with just their personality style, they will almost assuredly at some point offend at least one or two of the others. So take these same personalities in your business relationship. If you have been listening to the person, communicating effectively, you probably have a good idea of their personality. And obviously, if you're working with a prospective client who's punctual, then you want to make sure you get there on time. If it's someone who wants all the numbers, all the facts, you're going to make sure you're prepared with that before you go to the appointment. Now, let's apply this to our Give to Get platform. Let's say you want to tell each one of these people about Give to Get and the opportunities there. Let's start with the person who wants all the numbers, all the facts. They want time to make this decision. They may want to know exactly how the layers go. They recruit 5, and each of those 5, exactly how does that work? You may even want to schedule an appointment with Bruce so he can go into the detail and explain all the numbers, all the possible scenarios, and satisfy all of the facts. And then, of course, they will want time to think it over, and you would follow up. Now, with our bullet points, he may want to know what's in it for him. How is this going to provide him with a passive income? That might be what you want to stress with him. Our nurturer will be interested to hear that this is connecting people. This is bringing people together. And then, of course, our fun-loving personality, they may be interested in hearing about the live events that are being planned as soon as we're able, and the big groups and the high energy and the music and all those people, all those like-minded people together. So as you present, especially if your intent is to influence, you want to remember those personalities. You want to be familiar with them and vary enough from your own personality to communicate effectively to the other personality. In a family, families have their board meetings, they're planning an activity. Maybe mom and dad want to influence the children that they can all help with the work around the house. This is going to help the children prepare for adult life. This is going to teach them some of those essential life skills. And it will help prepare the family for that vacation that everyone's looking forward to. So if you have that fun-loving child, you know what's going to motivate them. If you have the nurturing child, you can assure them that everyone's going to be connected and everyone's going to have a good time, and so on. And the one who wants to know exactly what is the schedule, when are we leaving, how long is the drive, how long are we going to spend there, the same applies. Personalities. I'm sure we'll have more trainings on this, and we can go into this much deeper. Understanding another personality helps you understand that person on a deeper level and makes your communications more effective and allows you much more easily to move that relationship forward. In addition to the personalities and the words you say, consider the things you don't say. Consider what the other person says and doesn't say. Their body language. We communicate more with what non-verbally than we do verbally. And again, I have heard some of the other coaches mentioning NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Watch for more trainings on that as well. Know how to read someone's body language. Their personality can be determined quite often by their business or their job title, what they do. And also the way they act, what they say. And then the NLP. Another thing to remember are in personal relationships, we talk about love languages. In business, it's appreciation languages. But everyone has their favorite way to be recognized. You will have some customers who love that, knowing there's a bonus, knowing there's a buy 4, get the 5th one free. They love gifts. You will also have some who want verbal appreciation. They want to know when they interact with you, you're going to verbally express your appreciation to them, or just that they will get that personal touch, that time that is so important to them. And in a family, this is especially important to understand. You may be doing all you can to express your love to your child, but if you're not using the child's language, the message is not sent. The pass, the toss of the ball is not completed. And make sure you're understanding what helps the other person in this relationship feel loved or appreciated. And I just want to touch on negotiation. Now, a lot of times we think that that's just business, but consider that when you go to lunch with a group of friends or with your family, you're negotiating for when and where you go and what kind of food you eat. And if you're like most people, there are some options that are non-negotiable. This is another topic. Watch for future presentations on this. This is an important skill to have in any relationship. In a personal relationship, you probably want a collaborative negotiation style. This is making sure that everyone wins, everyone benefits, that you're finding a solution that helps everyone can accept. But there's also the competitive negotiating style. And in a business transaction, if you come into it with the collaborative approach, making sure it's a win-win, and the person you're dealing with is coming from a competitive approach, you will need to change gears and switch to competitive, or you will lose. We can go into that in much greater depth. Look for presentations on negotiation skills. They will help you get ahead in business, and they will help you have a happier home life as well. The next key is timing. Now, first, there's timing in a relationship. You've heard the adage, you don't propose on the first date. Just like you don't bring up that sales presentation too soon. We all know that people do business with, we do business with people we know, like, and trust. So you are taking the time to develop that rapport, earn that trust, make sure that the potential client is ready to take that next step, make that first commitment. In addition to the timing in the relationship, there's the timing for people, individuals, yourself and the other person in the relationship. I'm thinking specifically of in dealing with a child, especially a teenager. Emotions may have risen to the point where rational thinking has gone out the window and nothing positive will be the result. So there may be and Armida did an excellent job of, and if you missed her presentation, make sure you watch the recording. But she talked about giving yourself space, just, I'll be back in 20 minutes. And agree on this, this isn't a good time. Let's wait and even set the time when the conversation will be resumed. But understand the timing. The best conversations, the best interactions in any relationship take place when both parties are calm and feeling confident, comfortable. And that's when you're going to be the most productive. So be aware, and just like you would, you would never ask for a raise just after you got a negative performance review. And you wouldn't ask your child to do some chore for you just after you'd had an argument. You be aware of that timing. Give them the space, let them have time to manage their emotions. And also, I love the quote, only when you have learned to remain silent have you truly mastered the spoken language. I have heard sales coaches advise, once you've made the offer, stop talking. Know when to talk, know when to be quiet. It will aid you it will go a long way in any relationship. The fifth key is safety. I had the opportunity to interview Timothy Clark for my podcast, and he wrote the book, The 4 Stages of Psychological Safety. And the book was written for corporations. It's talking about how employers interact with employees, but the same principles apply to families. In his book, he explains that to have the most effective team, the best relationship, you need to reach all 4 levels of safety. Both parties need to feel safe in the relationship. The first level is inclusion. They need to feel part of the team, part of the group, part of the family. This applies especially to new hires. I've noticed on our Give to Get platform, we make sure new members understand how to access the features of Give to Get and feel welcome. That's the first level. The second one is they need to feel safe, that this is a safe place where they can learn. They can ask questions. They won't be embarrassed if they ask a question. And this, in any relationship, personal or business, for growth, full growth to take place, everyone needs to feel like it's okay to ask. If I don't understand, I can ask. Someone will help me. They'll clarify. They won't think I'm stupid. The third level is the contributor. Not only do they need to feel safe to be able to ask questions, they need to feel safe to be able to provide input, that they can give an idea. If they have a thought, that they can share it. Again, without fear of reprisal, criticism, or any negative backlash. And then the fourth level, again, and think carefully about this. If you're the one in charge, either the parent, the CEO, you know you will experience the greatest growth when you're open to suggestions to change, when someone can challenge you, call you out. And in that successful relationship, that needs to be established. Both need to feel safe to be able to challenge the status quo, what the other person is doing. If you have that quality in your relationship, you are definitely moving it forward and making it even more solid. So, safety and these levels of safety, being aware, this is especially challenging for parents with a teenager. It is really hard to have your teenager challenge you because they don't always do it in a tactful way. And you can teach them that. You can teach them appropriate ways. But no, for their growth and development. And again, your goal is to raise an independent adult. They need to reach the level of challenger safety. In any relationship, there is conflict. I don't think it is possible to have a relationship without conflict. It's how you handle it that matters. And Armida, again, touched on this in her presentations about some successful ways, effective ways to handle conflict. I want to compare conflict and contention. With conflict, there is respect. And I cannot emphasize respect enough in any relationship. There must be respect. I love the quote, "You must find the courage to leave the table when respect is no longer being served." This is true in a business setting. This is true in a personal relationship. Respect means that your needs are being considered. You are valued as a human being. And how you feel matters. And without that, there really is no relationship. In fact, I take that back. The only relationship in which there is no conflict is when one person totally dominates the other. And again, that's not a healthy relationship. So when you have that respect, that's the foundation. Then you can collaborate. Then you can work together because both viewpoints are being valued. You're looking for a solution. You're not attacking each other. You're working together. You're collaborating to find a solution. I like the expression curiosity over judgment. It's very easy to look at what someone else is doing and make a judgment. You know, that's really stupid. I would never do that. But why not be curious? Maybe it isn't something you have ever done or would consider doing, but it is there something you could learn from that? So in successful conflict resolution, there is curiosity over judgment and you want that win-win. You want to find that solution that benefits both parties. In contention, there's anger. When you're feeling anger, know that you're sliding into contention. Use that timing, maybe take a time out, call a halt, come back to it later, or just recognize there's something in this that is bringing up anger. What is it? Am I feeling disrespected? Am I just frustrated because I'm not getting my way? Once you can identify what's causing the anger, sometimes that will help right then. And you can be honest with yourself and saying, okay, I'm stuck on right and wrong, and I'm convinced I'm right, you're wrong. And then take it with a sense of humor. And in contention, it's very adversarial. You're not working together, you are opposed to each other. There has to be a winner and a loser, and you're going to win. And I like the term in the box thinking. I ended my teaching career at a residential treatment center for youth at risk. And that was the most challenging and also the most rewarding assignment of my career. I learned so much from that experience. First, I learned from our IEP meetings. IEP stands for Individual Education Program. And in the United States, there are laws written. IDEA is the federal law, and it governs how any student with special needs is educated. The objective is to examine their strengths, what they do well, their challenges, and help them learn and grow in the most effective way for them. And it does not have to follow the national curriculum. You're focusing on what's best for that student. So in these IEP meetings, we would have the personnel from the school who provided services for the student and the student's parents, and if there were any other specialists that were needed in this case. Now, this is a varied group of people with very different ideas and opinions on how things should be done. And it was possible to watch those meetings, and I did. Some of those meetings simply disintegrated into a contest of adult ego. It was contention. We were arguing over who was right, who was wrong, and there were no positive results from those meetings. But the most effective meetings, the ones that allowed students to progress further than anyone would have thought possible, accomplish at a higher level than anyone would have expected, were the meetings when everyone focused on the students' needs. There was respect. They were collaborating. They were finding solutions. How can we help this student take the strengths they have and become even better and become even more effective and work towards a successful independent adulthood? And it was amazing. It was so exciting to see that happen, to be part of that, and to see the success that came about from that kind of communication and that relationship. So part of this assignment, the administration gave all of the employees a copy of the book, The Anatomy of Peace. And this took the study of relationship to a very deep level. I love this book because it showed there are those relationships that we can't allow to go backwards. There are some business partnerships that we decide to dissolve. There are some clients that we decide our competitors can have. But if it's a family relationship, if it's your child, it is important to know that even when the relationship has become severely damaged, as long as there is the slightest interest or desire in both parties to maintain that connection, that relationship can be repaired. And it begins with this in the box thinking. So, what this means is when you view someone not as a person, but as a problem, you're stuck in that box. Let me give you an example. At this school were teenagers who were not able to progress in a traditional school. And most of them did not want to be there. They were not happy people. And they would disrupt class because they didn't want to be in class. If I started viewing that student as an annoyance, this is this object that just disrupts my class every day, I got nowhere. I wasn't able to help anybody. But if I could view them as a human being, he's just trying to get through life. Maybe he acts out because he's trying to cover up the fact that he's 15 years old and he still can't read a textbook. Maybe he's just trying to save face. Maybe he really is just doing the best he can. Or she. It's gender neutral pronouns. That's the first step in repairing that severely damaged relationship, is to see a person, not a problem. Recognize that they have unique needs. All behavior is purpose driven. There's a reason they're doing what they're doing. Maybe it doesn't serve you, but somehow it serves them. Understanding that, using that listening, lots of listening. And then the book goes on further with more steps you can take in repairing that damaged relationship. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful book explaining how even the most severely damaged relationships can be repaired. And, love is the most powerful force in the universe, so it's possible. Okay, our last key is service. Now, you know what your most valuable asset is, right? The most valuable commodity you own is your time. Time is very concrete. You only have 24 hours in a day. That's what greater gift can you give someone than your time? Give of yourself by giving your time. As we mentioned before, the purpose of business is to solve problems. And you all know the businesses that excel and get all the business from their competitors are the businesses that do more than just solve a problem. They go above and beyond. They provide extra service. They meet and exceed the client's expectations. The same thing with personal relationships. It's quite often people talk about marriage that, it needs to be 50-50. The problem with that is if each partner is providing 50%, they're going by their perspective of 50%. And their perspective of 50% may actually only be 30%. And so you have that space in the middle that isn't covered. But if each partner decides, I'm going to give 100%, it's completely covered. The same thing in a business relationship. Go above and beyond. Give the best of yourself in any relationship you want to move forward. So, just to recap, you only have two choices in any relationship. And we're talking about those relationships you want to move forward. You remember communication, all of those aspects, their personality, their body language, their love language. Based strongly on listening, lots of listening. And then the timing, very critical. The safety, make sure everyone's feeling safe. Conflict versus contention. Use proven skills for resolving conflict that don't hurt anyone. Avoid the contention. And then the service. Give of yourself. And you'll be moving that relationship forward in the most positive ways. So I was kind of, as we talked about have I been muted the whole time? I just noticed.
No, it was only for about
Okay.
5 seconds.
Okay, all right. Just thought, worse than not getting my slideshow up. I would have counted on someone to have told me. So
That was completely my fault. I'm so sorry about that.
that's
I
right.
thought it was unmuting everybody so they can also ask questions afterwards. Instead, I muted everybody. So I
Okay,
apologize.
so I just wondered, can we relate to those different personality types?
So
And I was hoping that Mauro and Bruce could add in. So as we share, give to get, understanding their personality would help us know what part of the program they would be most interested in. You could probably do a better job than I did on, what would you tell your friend who's high energy, looking for the next party?
So I'll let Bruce answer that question, but I did want to mention one thing though about the personality thing. That is one thing that I've known about this, but it's not something that I keep focus on, is the person I'm speaking to, their personality. And the personality is a huge contention to the conversation, because I may be talking way up here, like you said, I may be talking like I'm in the enthusiastic, energetic, crazy, wild person, to someone who is, very conservative and very shy and very quiet. And they're looking at me like, oh my God, what's going on? So,
Are they?
when you mentioned that was a very good point that I did think. And I have to say, before we go into the whole personality thing, and I want Bruce to answer that question too, is that 50-50 comment that you made, is there's so much truth to it. What I believe would be a 50-50 relationship, I'm like, well, I'm giving the 50%, and really the person thinks I'm only putting in 2% or 20%, let's say. So I really, catching that, I didn't really think about it from that perspective, and that was one of those aha moments, like, I like that.
Well, even from that perspective, they talk about, quote unquote, a man and a woman coming together in a marriage to be one. It's not the woman coming with 50% and the man coming with 50% to, quote unquote, make 100% of one. It's 100% of one and 100% of another to make a whole. You gotta have each party coming at 100%.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Interesting question. I firmly agree with you, Emmalou, in terms of really starting to understand, I'll say, the membership from that point of view, in terms of not only what they're wanting to get out of the program, but what's their personality. So how best can we put it in front of them that's going to relate to that part of their personality, and that they're always going to be benefiting something out of it and growing moving forward. And being, like us as presenters, being very aware of that on a particular call, even like now we've got Caesar, we've got Yana, we've got Steph, how to be able to do it, that it does really relate to all four styles in some degree, as opposed to just blindly going ahead with one, not really paying attention to, who are the other people on their call, what might be their personality type, and what might they be looking to get out of the call, and how to do that.
Well, you're talking to a group, you'd probably want to consider, you'd want to bring up what would benefit all four.
Yep, exactly.
Make sure, and bring up the live events and
even that, I'll just make a comment too, just because Mara and I had what I'll say a very high conflict conversation literally just before we got onto this call. And everything that was on the conflict side that you were talking about, we absolutely have in our relationship. And we are at the level where we can very much step into that challenger level from a point of feeling safe. And what I'll say, challenging each other, so that, quote unquote, we are doing what's best for the program, for the members, for the coaches, for the marketing in all cases. It's not on the contention side at all. And that's just a really special relationship in my mind, because some people look at that from an outside point of view thinking, oh man, like these guys really hate each other. No, we really enjoy each other, and we want to push each other in a positive way so that we do what's better for the members.
I was going to say jokingly, it's a good thing there's a screen in the way.
Or it could have come to blood. Some people fear conflict. They feel like, oh, I love this relationship is so important to me. We can't have any conflict, but conflict improves relationships. You clear the air, you move forward, you come up with a better plan than what you had. You relate on a deeper level. Conflict really is good for a relationship.
And you said it before, going into it with love, like the intention is all love. It's not there to create a fight. It's there because we both want the best for everything. And if you're going in there with that intention, you don't have to agree, but at least you're going into it listening and trying to make it work, doing the best to make it work.
Yeah.
I think that other part too, viewing the individual as a person, viewing the individual as a human being, because it's so easy for us to get caught or focused on the problem, the issue, and then overlay the issue onto the person. And now the whole, what I'll say, human aspect of that individual goes away. And you're just really arguing the issue or the problem instead of going, you know what? This is a person that we're talking to. This is another human being, just like I'm a human being, and I want to be treated that way. To your point, I absolutely agree. Respect is absolutely the foundation. Absolutely the foundation.
I would like to add something. When I was married,
you still are.
Of course, when I was freshly newly married, and we were on our honeymoon, and we had the little argument, and she just wouldn't talk. She just wouldn't express what she was feeling and how she was bothered. And I made a rule then. I says, we're not going to go to sleep without resolving the issue. So let's talk. Because I think the worst thing is sometimes being quiet and withholding the emotions and not letting the partner know what's going on. At least, if you know what's going on in her mind or his mind, then at least you can deal with it and you can throw it back and forth and you can come to an agreement. But if you don't know what the other person is thinking and feeling, then you're stuck.
That
So
was
I think it's very important that I think that you know, you do bring out whatever you're feeling to the floor and discuss it and come to some sort of an agreement.
I agree, absolutely. In her presentation, Armida talked about the things that hurt a relationship, and one was withdrawal, just withdrawing from the relationship, not talking. And you're right, it damages relationships. And I think when we start slapping labels and on people, like, you know, he's just a jerk, you know, she's, you know, we've taken away their personhood. But yeah, I love that comment, Caesar. Absolutely.
Okay.
You need to be able to talk and express it. And if the timing isn't right, just say, okay, I can't talk about it now. I need some time to cool down. I can, you know, and then set a time when you will communicate. Good point.
Absolutely true. Yes, yes.
And even that's a learned skill on how to do that well. You know, how to do that well, how to communicate that well, and how to get that communication back before somebody actually exits out.
Yeah. You can't take 2 weeks to cool down.
Well, not even that, but you know, communicated like, you know, Emmalou, this has gone a little too far for me right now. I need to go take a break. I need to go relax. I need to go do some deep breathing. I'm going to come back in a half an hour. I'm going to come back in 40 minutes. And then I'm happy to pick that up again, as opposed to just walking away.
Yes.
Because it has gone too much. Like you got to communicate. And is that all right with you? Is it okay if I'm back in 40 minutes? You know, well, no, I need you back in a half an hour. I'm not sure if I can be a half an hour. Maybe I can be 35 minutes, you know, and then exit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
That was amazing. Is there does anybody else have any questions or comments?
What about
I want to share my
Stefaniana?
big takeaway. So I really love the topic today because I feel like it helps me a lot. It just reminds me on how to interact with my team. I feel like we all have different drives, and if we are not constantly reminded of like what drives everyone of my team members, sometimes like they could get lost or they could feel like unvalued. So I really like that, you know, you reminded me of like that everybody has different purposes and to what like doing what they want or what they need to do to get to where they want. And yeah, I'm gonna definitely like, you know, like consider everything that you said and, you know, approach my team like that way and stuff. And also like respect. It was a big not like a hot moment, but like a good reminder. I feel like that respect is everything. And once like you don't have like respect, like it's good to walk away from the situation.
Yeah. And
So thank you.
you are certainly welcome. Thank you for your comments.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Emmalou. That was amazing.